Hi, you guys. When I'm driving hours in my car every day, I tend to listen to YouTubers that are specifically on self improvement and once in a while Christian pastors from a church I went to in Montana. But I've been binge listening to First Man. First Man made me a lot more positive about where I'm heading towards in my life and be more patient and to have a long term plan that's at least 10 to 15 years in order to become successful and to make my 30s and my 40s a lot easier. And the reason you must have a long term plan is that you're less likely to make impulsive decisions. They'll make you delay being successful and having to go back to a 9 to 5 job for a time. For me, I don't know what I want to do outside of a travel slash self improvement YouTube channel that fulfills my purpose to show people new places. I understand subscriber growth is exponential because in the beginning, the growth might be linear, but it just takes one viral video, guys. It just takes one viral video to get that big curve and subscriber growth. For me, my most popular videos are talking about the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. But I don't want to keep talking about that because it's just going to get old. And also, I don't feel too qualified on the subject because my heritage is not part of South Dakota. My heritage is part of the United States of America, Germany, and El Salvador, not specifically South Dakota. Currently, I want to talk about my experience traveling in my car and being able to make a sustainable life doing it. I still have obligations, guys. I still have stuff that's kind of curling me. I still have to pay my mom rent each month because I signed a contract with her. I still have 2 car payments. And all of this stuff is my fault because I was making impulsive decisions. I was making impulsive decisions because I had such a short window where I was trying to be successful. But when I watched First Man and he told me how you have to have a long-term plan in order to become successful, I now understand why. The reason is to prevent you from making those impulsive decisions that will force you to go back to a 9 to 5 job for a time. And that's what happened to First Man. I believe First Man made some mistakes in terms of debt, and he had to go to a sales job for 3 years, a 9 to 5 job for 3 years in order to make up for that. For me, I'm grateful that my mistakes weren't as bad. So I had to work a sales job for about 8 months in order to make up for the mistakes that I made. First Man emphasizes on sticking to a routine that improves 2 aspects of our lives: our fitness and our finances. For me, my priority right now in terms of my finances is just to have a sustainable life traveling and being able to pay my bills. And because of the obligations I have, I can't just stay in a place for a few days, then go to the next place, then go to the next place. I have to stay in the same place for 3 weeks to a month, grind my butt off doing the delivery apps, being able to pay my bills and save a little bit of money, then go to the next place. That is my idea on a sustainable life traveling. And I'm also taking effort right now to decrease my expenses, to realize what I don't need. First Man made this video. It was called Ballin on a Budget, and it just made me rethink having a mortgage. It made me think and vision of a beachside property in Baja, California, or El Salvador. For his Ballin' on a Budget video, he was talking about beachside properties in Montenegro that were only around like $400,000. Now, he made that video around a year ago, so inflation is going to make it go up, but it's not going to be as bad as the United States, having a beachfront property in the United States. For my example, because First Man is in Europe, I'm in America, I guess the American example would be having a beachfront property in Mexico. There's this place I went to. I was 10 years old, and I loved it ever since. It was called San Felipe. San Felipe is in Baja, California. It's next to the ocean, and a lot of American retirees live there. And I'm imagining owning a beachfront property there and spending some months of the year there, letting my investments that I built up over the decades work for me. San Felipe is only a 6-hour drive from the Phoenix metro area, so if I'm spending some time in Arizona, it's not too bad of a drive for me if I own a property there. On the topic of decreasing expenses, we can give some stuff up. We can give up those subscriptions. We can give up those flavored beverages. And we can give up eating out and instead shop at the grocery store. Because we can be surprised how much we can save each month by making those sacrifices. I spent 1 month in Montana, living in my vehicle, just doing delivery apps. And because of the expenses I had at the time, even with 2 car payments, I was able to save $4,000 in 1 month. Obviously, you gotta take into account that I had to pay taxes eventually out of that and stuff like that, but I was able to have $4,000 more in my bank account after 1 month of living in my vehicle in Montana doing delivery apps full time. So it just makes you rethink everything. At the moment, I rarely eat out, and I no longer buy protein chips, protein bars, Splenda, so that saves me money. And when I drive my car, my priority is to make money doing it in order to get tax deductions and just to have cash flow going. It all adds up, guys, but it does take sacrifices. You know, in April, I'm probably only going to spend 2 to 3 days total hanging out with friends, eating out, hiking, and the rest of the time I'm focused on developing this YouTube channel, working the delivery apps, and going to the gym. Back to the topic of balling on a budget, I have a South Dakota driver's license that has a private mailbox address. It's not an apartment, it's not a mobile home, it's not a house, it's a private mailbox service. So I can basically live in my RV, and if I have government mail sent to me, it's sent to this private mailbox service, and they notify me from my phone when I get mail. So I can either get it mailed to a P.O. box, or I can pick it up from the establishment. You know, imagine yourself owning a beachfront property in Mexico, spending some months of the year there, and then when you're in the United States, you live in your RV and you just use that private mailbox address in South Dakota. You could do that. You have the ability to do that. I'm going to repeat this one more time. You can live in your RV in the United States and have a legal address as a private mailbox service. In some months of the year, you live in your beachfront property in Mexico. We all have the ability to do that. We don't have to get a mortgage in the United States, guys. I imagine a life where I work on YouTube and my personal brand for my laptop, and I do delivery apps in order to make extra income until the personal brand and the YouTube channel is more established. And I need to dedicate time out of my year to show people new places because that is my purpose. That is what gives me that feeling in this chest. That is what gives me the fulfillment in my chest and my mind, you know? I would love to show the people in South Dakota the ocean for the first time. I would love to show them Hawaii, Mexico. The craziest thing I've ever done in my life was I met a homeless guy in Rapid City, South Dakota. I helped him get his license using that private mailbox address. And 2 weeks after I met him, I took him to Maui for the first time in his life. He has never seen the ocean before. And that was the first time he was on a plane. That was the craziest thing I've ever done. And that was part of the impulsive decisions I was making. But because of the money, guys, that's possible. With money, stuff like that is possible. If someone has never seen another country, another state, you can literally, with the money, just fly out and hang out with them, have a good time, and give them memories that last forever. And that's part of my purpose, to show people new places. This freedom, this independence is within our reach. And I'm grateful that First Man emphasizes having that routine that improves those two aspects, those finances and the fitness of ourselves. You know, Ballin' on a Budget is one of my favorite videos from First Man because it just makes me rethink of having a mortgage. Instead of having a mortgage in the United States, I can have a beachfront property in a cheap country and take people to my beachfront property in order to fulfill my purpose to show people new places. And it's important to sacrifice our 20s in order to have a good 30s and 40s. Sacrifice our 20s in terms of solely focusing on improving our finances and our physique, and further developing our purpose in order to make it our livelihood. You know, the focus is traveling the world, guys. The focus is traveling the world and having everything we ever wanted. That's every young man's dream. But the problem is our fathers likely lived miserable lives in order for their wife and their children to have a happy life. My father lived a miserable life in order for my mom to be okay and for me to have a happy childhood. You know, men throughout history have had the urge to obviously reproduce, travel, and fight. That's why I have a mad respect for my Spanish ancestors. You know, the conquistadors traveled to the New World with their fellow brothers. They had children with beautiful women, and they fought empires in order to serve the Spanish crown. But now we don't have to literally fight, guys, but we have to hustle and fight to make our purpose into our livelihood. I'm going to emphasize again, my purpose is to show people new places, and I feel if I keep repeating what my purpose is, it's naturally going to manifest itself. My question to you is, what is your purpose? And what is a 10 to 15 year plan you can do to make your purpose into your livelihood, while at the same time having a routine that improves your fitness and your physique? I hope this video helps you in any way. I love you guys. God bless you. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you.